All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the August 10th, 2023 Hampshire Solar Eclipse Gladstone Signal Spotting Challenge medium wave recordings event, and soon, hopefully, we'll have a VLF event too, add to our stable of things we're working on. Let me throw up put the agenda on the screen real quickly. Shouldn't be too much there. Yep. Usual, we'll let Ed speak for a little while. I know Mackenzie's got some things to talk about, I believe, on the Twitter and social media front. The scoring committee got together for a few minutes in the past week. I can talk about that for a little bit. And we'll make mention of the upcoming ham site workshop for 2024. The dates are solidified, March 22nd, 23rd. It'll again be at Case Western Reserve University, where it was back in 2019. So that is that work is just getting off the ground, but at least we've got dates. Okay. Stop share. Okay, Ed, you want to fill us in on good things?
I always yield to Mackenzie, so I'll let her open the program. Over to you.
Thank you, Ed. Can everyone hear me okay? All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I have a couple of quick updates. So I sent out the SEQP packets to the National Amateur Radio Association for all 41 countries in North America, South America, and the Caribbean. I joined their radio clubs on social media, and I've been directly messaging them. In my opinion, this approach has been a lot more effective than the latter because a lot of the responses I've gotten were quick. The following countries are willing to disseminate mass communications on our behalf: El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras in Central America, Colombia and South America, the Cayman Islands, Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. And I've also made initial contact with Ruben Leal, who is the president of the Mexican Federation of Radio Experimenters. He has received the SEQP packet in his email, and he is reviewing it. I also wanted to bring up a little bit about the social media. For those who do not know, HamSci is present also on Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and Reddit, as well as Facebook. And I did want to make a note that it is important that social media sites are powerful tools. They do require a lot of attention, and to make the most of social media, we must maintain an active and engaging presence and avoid becoming stagnant like we did on Twitter back in 2018. So this is my plan so we don't become stagnant again. I will post a minimum of one cross-platform post each week with a gradual uptick in posting as we get to the October SEQP. I think that it would be wise to add posts with subjects that are appealing to amateur radio operators as well. These posts would obviously be relevant within the HamSci sphere of interest. And I also, for the last point, think that we should get in contact with larger content creators and possibly request their permission to post SEQP information on their social media platforms as well. And that's all I have for today.
Excellent. That's a lot. When you say larger content creators, what are you thinking of there?
Like people on YouTube who have bigger audiences, like Dave Kassler would just be an example. I know we talked about podcast, Ed. Yep. So maybe we can talk to them and see if we can use their platform to spread information about the SEQP.
Yep. Yeah, and that's on my list as well. So I mean, so we're syncing on that. And I know we talked about it last week briefly here. Our plan is to be able to do some outreach to at least the 10 top podcasters. If you recall, very early on back in March, we purchased a list in terms of leading podcasters and vidcasters, that type of thing. So so we're going to sort of work on that. Sort of grab the lower hanging fruit, I guess, at the beginning. And and obviously thanks to a number of you who volunteered to be quote unquote talent for us as we sort of get on the air and not only carry our content, but also perhaps do some interviews for us. But Mackenzie and I did get a chance to really discuss Twitter as an application this week. I think it's got, obviously it's underutilized. As Mackenzie pointed out, we hadn't really been on since over 2 years, 2.5 years, I guess, maybe even longer. So we're going to be up there. I mean, and the other piece too is that it offers the possibility for a lot more segmented audiences that we can speak to and link to. So I think that's what we're looking for, and just in terms of doing more outreach. We also got together last week and put together sort of a rough content calendar that gets us through, I guess, August and into early September, if my memory serves me correctly. And just in terms of, updating people, general interest in terms of what the SEQP is all about, what the Gladstone Challenge is all about, what the AM SWL piece is, beyond interspersed in terms of content so that we're posting more frequently is just really more, ask for the order, asking, don't forget to, sign up for the QSO party, and just be aware that it's out there. So you're going to see a lot of interspersing, things that sort of look repetitive, but nevertheless frequency matters, just in terms of getting people on the air. So, so that's just all credit here to Mackenzie in terms of, putting this piece together, and obviously the outreach in terms of looking to Central and South America. So it looks like we're really starting to make some progress on that. So, Mackenzie, back to you. Is there anything else here, that I missed, from our piece?
I don't think so. I think we did want to discuss Twitter Blue as an option, but I know that does cost
Yeah, go ahead.
money.
Yeah.
So Twitter Blue is basically just a verified version of your account for Twitter. But instead of the normal 280 characters we would be allowed, which is about 40 words, we would be given 25,000 characters, which is a good way to spread more information and more accurately. It also provide more room for hashtags. I did try to post a couple posts on Twitter, and I had difficulty with that, especially trying to get all the information, the necessary information out there without the hashtags. So I did have to put the hashtags in the comments because they could not fit in one post. So for about a year of a subscription would be about $84 a year for the desktop version. And I wanted to see what you thought about that, Gary. Would there be a grant put in place, or how would we, if we would even consider this?
Well, I'm sure we would consider it. I mean, Nathaniel wasn't able to join us today, and he knows what his grants entail and what he can use the grant money for. I don't have any of that. So we will, let's bring that back next week and ask again. Let's not forget about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because that would really help us. So just very, very quickly, because, obviously, and just to be able to move it around too, is that, I think we mentioned last week that we got a blurb into CQ for the October issue. We've also got some press releases out to Amateur Radio Daily, which is sort of the successor to Southgate. Okay, and if you remember Southgate Amateur Radio News, it's billed as a daily, but it's really a weekly. And I think the guy's on vacation because they haven't heard anything back in the last week, unless he's posting towards the end of the week. And we've gotten it out to a couple of other ham radio sites as well too. The contest list went out, as I think we mentioned last week. The list is pretty good. We only got one bounce back, and the rest of the list is good, and we went through. So and I suspect, Gary, if we have some time, I don't know if we want to talk about using contest logs and things like that, or that might be just a table item for maybe a little bit more downstream as we get back. Just because just as a quick background for everybody is that, I mean, the Pennsylvania QSO party and 3 other states are running QSO parties on that Saturday, October 14th. And so the question is how we might be able to leverage sort of liability, because they're, obviously it's a contest, but how do we get people, to sort of, not only be on the air, but also perhaps get some logs. But I think that's an item that's really on the parking lot right now in terms of further discussion. Just other pieces, podcast, as we just mentioned, we're going to be looking to do some outreach there. We've gotten some volunteers as talent. Thank you very much on that. Okay. And I'll be getting back to you. We got some publications in terms of the ARRL South Carolina Bulletin, the North Florida Bulletin for ARRL. Nick, I think I saw Nick on. Nick got a really nice post in CIDX. And when I'm done here, maybe just turn it over to he and to Gary as well, AB4GH, for any updates that they have there. The other piece that we're going to need some help on is that we've been speaking. If you remember, we had a conversation early on with NOAA, Kimberly Eves. And KATE is working with her in terms of the October event in being at an Albuquerque Solar Eclipse Festival. Kimberly, Nathaniel, and I spoke earlier this week. NOAA is also doing an event in the Dallas area for April the 8th, and it's going to be held in the Cotton Bowl, and they're expecting about 80,000 people. Okay, to be there to, for handling, to be able to watch the eclipse. And I'm not familiar with the Cotton Bowl, but apparently around the perimeter, they're going to be setting up a number of booths for exhibitors and asking Hamsci to be a contributor. If you know of any Hamsires in the Dallas area, that I might be able to speak to be able to help us before I do any outreach to any Dallas clubs, please let me know. Okay, wx2r@arrl.net. Again, Dallas area is obviously perfect for us. It's a really great exposure, and obviously, 80,000 people is not a bad audience to have walk around and learn a little bit about what we're all about. So just, I guess other things just in terms of upcoming events. I've booked a event with the West Palm Beach Amateur Radio Club, and they're going to be leveraging us to a lot of the other South Florida clubs. And that date will be in early September, right after Labor Day. So let me turn it over first to Nick, if you've got anything, and then to Gary, if you've got anything, and then Gary, back to you. Okay, so WX2R.
Okay, first of all, am I being heard? Yes,
Yep.
I think so. Yeah, good. Okay, yeah, the actual blurb that you talked about was in International Radio Club of America's DX Monitor, which is a medium wave club in North America. My plan was to start with the medium wave clubs in North America, then move on to overseas ones, and finally the SWL ones. And I hope to have those all done within the next week or so. The question for Gary, we have a contact information on the HamSci website, the medium wave listening, but how do I get access to that, to what comes into there? Because like right now, I don't know if there's any response because I don't know where to look.
Yeah, that was an email address that was created back in 2017. Is that correct? Does that sound familiar?
Okay, I do have that. Does that if that is looking towards towards that email address, I can certainly check that one. That's the Zoho, I think, that Nathaniel was talking about.
Right.
Okay, if that's what it's being redirected to, I'll go there and see if there's anything turning up. I've had a couple of one-on-one conversations with people, and strangely enough, that seems to work a heck of a lot better. Oh yeah, I saw that. Oh, you mean you're talking to me? I think, okay, yeah, I am. So maybe I'm going to have to do a bit more of that. I don't know. So at any rate, we'll see how that turns out. Okay, back to you, Ed, or whoever.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Nick. And sorry, I got CIDX in my head, so it was IRCA. So anyway, Gary, AB4GH, anything update on the video?
Yes. We've got the 2 pitch letters, which I sent you copies of.
Yep.
We've got the 2 pitch letters done, with script is done and approved. I've got a feeler out right now. I contacted for Gary Sinise and Muse Watson, 2 actors. I also want to put out as many irons in the fire as I can, because if they're, and inevitably you're going to have people that are not available, tied up, or doing something else. So I want to get as many feedbacks as I can, and then hopefully a lot of yeses, and then we can start putting stuff together in schedules and getting people's videos and audios together. Tomorrow I'm gaining access through my son in Florida. He's gaining access to the database of all of the actors and agents and all of their non-public numbers, basically unpublished numbers that production companies use to contact them. And I'm getting access to that database through Andrew, and we're going to go through and look and see who is a good match for us. Somebody that's done a lot of with NASA movies or science-based movies, or somebody just well-known. For example, my son yesterday, he said, well, he says, Matt Damon just did that movie. I said, I don't think that Matt Damon, if Matt Damon does it, my wife want to fly to wherever he's been doing the videotaping. So anyway, that's where we're at. We've got the pitch letters, we got the script. Now we're just, as Ed said, we're on the talent hunt. And when we start to give back responses, yeses or no, I'll report back what I get back. And if we get yeses back, then we've laid out in the pitch letter how to make it easy for them and non-stressful for them. Being at most phones now, like the iPhone 14 or even my iPhone 10, they do HD and they do broadcast quality recordings basically. So we're letting them have several options to record their video or audio. For example, Ms. Watson had surgery on his neck done recently, and he said he may do audio and then do inserts of pictures and, you know, basically a B-roll footage for him. But I'm just, like I said, I'm excited about what type of answers I'm going to get back from however many we're going to put out. But I'll keep you all posted, and especially Ed, I'll let you know who I send them out to and what the response is, or if we haven't received a response back. Either way, when I send them out to somebody, I'll email you and say we got one and going out to this person.
Thanks.
And that's all I got for now.
Perfect. That's great. So we obviously it'll take a life of its own once we get somebody to say yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks much, Gary, on that. So just one last item. As you know, I've been working with Sierra Harrop at League headquarters. Yeah. She's the PR person. And she mentioned to me on Friday that Hamsai is averaging about 2 to 3 mentions per day, you know, in a source that they pick up in terms of paid sort of sources regarding amateur radio. So, and she thought that was a pretty good start for us in terms of mentions. So we don't see them all, but apparently we're averaging about 2 or 3 per day. So anyway, Gary, back to you, AF8A, WX2R.
Excellent, Ed. Well, that's a good segue too, because what I was sitting here thinking is how much a number of you have accomplished in the last couple of months. I mean, I don't remember when it was. It may have been around field day late in June when Nathaniel said, hey, you know, we just realized the eclipse is passing, you know, South America and Mexico and Central America, blah, blah, blah. And here we are, not very long later, and Mackenzie's reached out to 41 clubs. She's getting some responses from them and that sort of thing. So, I mean, it's nice to watch as some of these ideas percolate. We agree, yeah, let's move forward with them. And people are taking them and working them to completion too. It's not just an idea that disappears. They're really happening. Just like Gary in his video here. I mean, he got the idea. We got the script together. We went through a couple of revisions, got an approval, and now we're working through the next phases. Same thing with Ed. I mean, you look at purchasing the list and getting the letters out and working with the league. I mean, an awful lot has been accomplished by many different people. So it's very, very good to see.
Mary Lou has a point, I think, right? I see a finger up. Yep.
I have a question for Gary H. Can you get Ira Flattow? I listened to him a lot on National Public Radio, and he does science stuff, and I think he's great.
Can you fire me off an email, and that way I will not mess up his name, and I'll go ahead and contact him, and I'll look him up and see if he's in a database for
that's a good referral. Yeah, he'd be an NPR in Washington, but yeah, we can track it down. So
yeah, another person of the same ilk would be Bill Nye.
Yeah, Bill Nye.
Oh,
Bill
yeah,
Nye, the
Bill
science guy.
Yeah.
There you go. He's a brand. Yeah.
I had a local ham club member say he says Bob Heil would probably do something. Because ham.
Yes, yeah, hold that thought, because Heil is on our podcast list as well too. So it just depends on timing and how he asks the favor. Okay, so let's keep that one in mind.
Yeah, if you could just send me just send me your suggestions, and I'll make them work.
And I was interviewed by Bob, so I think hopefully he'll remember me. So anyway,
yeah, my email address is gary@ab4gh.us.
Perfect. Gary, back to you.
Okay. I want to follow up with Nick too, just to make sure I said the right thing. So let me share my screen again. We'll look at the medium wave pages. So on the medium wave page, Nick, this is where the questions at. Send them to hamsci@hamsci.org. And I do watch that email address. I check it every couple of days. And typically we get about one person in there every 2 or 3 days. So if something comes through, I'll let you know. But
Okay.
Now that I'm thinking about it, like I said, I thought we had a specific address for the medium wave stuff in 2017. Do you remember what that was?
I'd have to look it up. I think it was the one on Zoho that had been that then Nathaniel had. He said it was dormant from sort of 2019 or something like that. But the thing is that like if you actually sort of enter your information into the web page and saying you want to participate, which is down here at the bottom, the registration form. Where does that go?
Oh, that
Is
goes
that the
to
one?
that goes
Yeah.
to a Google sheet. And I keep an eye on all those Google sheets for all the
Okay.
different events.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Just so long as I know it's not going into a dead letter office somewhere.
No, not at all.
Yeah, okay, but I will check the Zoho. I have, as again, I have no idea, why that exists. But I'll certainly check it. And now I know that you are basically my clearinghouse for anything that comes in for any interest that comes in on the medium wave list, then that's good. As long as somebody's looking for it. Okay,
Well,
thanks very much.
the other thing I'll do is when the next time I go into that Google sheet that has this medium wave recording data in it, I
Yeah.
thought I had made you a person that could access it. If not, I will add you and let you know.
Yeah,
Because then
okay,
you'll have direct access.
sure, good show. Thanks very much.
Yep. Yeah, and if we decide we want to change the email address up here, let me know. I can obviously do that in a few minutes too. So
Yeah, okay.
but they do get watched.
Okay, we'll figure it out. Okay, thanks again. Back to you.
Okay. All right. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to look at on the website. Something tells me. An idea for Mackenzie. A couple of different things. So we've got our front news page here, and I've been trying to put a couple of new things on here. Mackenzie, if you'd like, I could list, if you want to write up a short little article, I mean, these things, just a few paragraphs, with a graphic, say, Hamsai's out here on these social media things, at least would appear on the Hamsai homepage for a couple of weeks or months until something else rolled it off, so I'd be more than happy to post something up here if you would like.
I would like that. Thank you.
Okay, yep. Yeah, just think of a nice graphic we can use and we'll do that. Okay. The other thing I wanted
You
to
want
show
to
real
put up a picture of the new version of the grape that's the guys in New England are putting together,
yes,
the breadboard.
yes. Yeah, that's a good idea, but I also want to be careful with when I do that because I don't want to make people think that they can obtain those freely because it's like going to be 15 of those in the world. So, but that's a good one to hold off because once we've got them all sent out and they're all spoken for, then I don't feel so bad about posting it up there.
Fair enough.
Yep, thank you. So the other thing is too, is we do have a media hits page that will mostly help those like Nathaniel who do all the hard work and going after the grants to keep us going. And we have been adding to the list. When we started out in February, March, April, May, and there's been a couple in August, as Ed was talking about. Next article in DX Monitor. We're on QRZ.com. We got some top billing there, thanks to Ed's press release and that sort of thing. Ron's article in CQ. So anything that's a significant mention in the media, it eventually finds its way here. We've got a nice list. So when the people that fund us with grants say, well, have you really gotten the word out? We can definitely tell them yes. Okay. I think that's it on the publicity side of things. Let's see what else we had up here. Quick mention the Solar Eclipse QSO Party Scoring Committee. We did get together Tuesday afternoon for about a half an hour. Kevin, Jerry wasn't able to make it, Adarsh, and Bob French. So one of the things we decided is just took a look at what Adarsh was doing, see his latest updates. But also we are going to establish a Hamsai GitHub account so we can keep his code there, or whoever's code we use, and it's visible. And Jay's got the software spec out there. People can review the code against that spec and so on and so forth. So we're in the process of doing that. I'm collecting some usernames, and then we'll create that GitHub account, and then we'll keep moving on that. Let's see. Like I said, the only other thing I already mentioned it was the Hamsai workshop in Cleveland, March 22nd and 23rd, and here in Cleveland. And like I say, that's that work is just getting underway. So mark your calendars. Is there anything else anyone else wants to add in? Otherwise, we can probably jump off early today.
Yeah. Hi there.
Hi, Jay.
Yeah, let me turn the camera on here. Hi there. Has there been any decision about what language the analysis software will be written in? Or is that still up in the air?
I'm
Right
writing
now, the most. Go ahead, Adarsh. There you go.
Yeah, I'm writing in Python.
Okay. You're aware of the software requirements spec document I wrote?
I haven't taken a look at it. If you could send it over, I'd look at that this week.
What I'll do is I'll put it up on the GitHub account once we've got it
Okay.
up there. That way we don't have a lot of different copies floating around.
Yeah. Okay, now realize that I want to say it's a high level document. So there may be things in there that are directly applicable to Python, and there may be things that aren't really applicable to Python. But those will be obvious to you. But I tried to write it in a way that was language agnostic, that it doesn't matter what language you're using, Python, Fortran, BASIC, assembler, it really doesn't matter. So, and take a look at it. You're more than welcome to contact me directly, and with any comments, suggestions, anything you want to talk about, feel free to rattle my cage. My call sign at arl.net.
Thank you. I'll take a look at it. Yeah, there's definitely some standards that I have to follow. Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. And this one, we can talk more. Rattle my cage when you want to yak about it, please.
All right, thank you.
All righty. That's about all I had for now. 7-3 to everybody. Back to net control from WB8SPI.
Good, Jay. Thank you very much. Any other comments? Oh, Gary's got his hand up.
Yes. If everybody checks their chat, I put my email address in there. If you got anybody do you want me to target, I'll go ahead and send them information, and I'll let you know feedback. Just send an email to the address that I got in chat. That's it.
I think I've got Flatos. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I actually saw Bill Nye in person a few years ago. There was a large foundation in Cleveland was having their annual meeting, and they brought him in to speak, and that was pretty enjoyable to see Bill Nye, the science guy, in person. I never thought that would happen. But
Did Rob have his hand up?
Yeah, just briefly. Let's see. Do you hear me? No.
yes.
Oh, this is for Mackenzie. I had contacted a fellow in Panama City back in April, and he operates a whisper beacon, and they're right on the path of totality for the October eclipse. He expressed an interest. He's already running a transmitter and some receivers, but if you haven't gotten any responses from anyone in Panama, he seemed receptive of it. Our communications were entirely on Telegram, which is the channel that. But he gave me he has an ARRL.net address. I can put it in the chat. And you could try emailing him, but he didn't respond to my email, but he was very responsive on Telegram. So I don't know if I can help you, but he seems like he's engaged in 2 clubs in Panama, and they operate a number of beacons and receive sites. So he, along with Fernando in Brasilia, seem the 2 contacts that I have that might be useful for the whisper part of this project. But I'm so busy with other things I haven't been keeping up and with either one of them. So if you'd like, I can can put it in the chat or email you this contact information and see if if you wanted to follow up with them.
Right, that would help a lot. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know that I have your email address.
I'll put it in the chat so you can email me.
Okay, okay, I'll email you. Okay, that's all I have.
All right, good. One person I wanted to say hello to is Art, KD60. He's one of the, he's gonna be one of the sites for the grapes in California. So I know we've been going back and forth in email quite a bit. So at least I got to see, say hello in person, so to speak. Good to see you. Okay, is anything else anybody else wants to bring up? As we'll wrap her up. Okay, good meeting today. As usual, a lot of progress on things. A lot of things we're still working on. Keep an eye on the ham site, Google groups and whatnot. I put out a request today for some expertise with GNU Radio. So there's always something happening, always something we're needing. We're making progress, but always plenty of things to do. Okay, everyone, thank you very much for attending. If we need anything, we'll let everybody know. We've got a lot of emails flying back and forth, I think, after the meeting today, which is great. Otherwise, have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.
73.
Have a good
11-3,
wedding, Ed.
everybody. Take care. Stay
11-3.
safe.
11-3.